Welcome to Don's Manufactory. This is part 3, continuing on with the 53 Les Paul. And I'm going to start this one out with a disclaimer. I am not a luthier. I am not without experience. I've been fixing my own guitars and amps and everything since the 70s. I'm a musician, and because of that, I could not afford to have other people fix my stuff. That being said, let's get on with this project. Got a lot of work to do on this thing. The glue is set up, so I took the clamps off and I did a dress, leveled the frets here. Now I have to crown all the frets, so I'm just going to put me on a little black marker here. That's just so I can see where the file is hitting. I mean, this guitar's been playing pretty well, but it definitely needed a fret dress. Yeah, Mac. Let's just see what happens here. Yeah, it's gonna be okay. Still got my bridge out here swinging. There we go. That looks pretty good. So I'm left with just a nice little crown there. Normally, if I had pickups in here, I'd have tape over those to keep the metal particles from sticking to the pickups, but that is not the case here today. This fret crowning file from Mac, one of the edges says wide jumbo, and the other one is medium jumbo. So, got to use the right edge. It also seemed to clog up, even though I lubricated it. Got to watch that it's not picking up shards of fret material and then gouging as you're trying to actually crown it and make it smooth. You can make it quite rough. Just be careful using it, and you'll save yourself a bunch of polishing. And now I'm going to polish it longitudinally here with 600. Sanding it this way smooths it out so that the strings slide very easily and smoothly without extraneous noises. So you can see me switching back and forth between 600 and 1500 sandpaper here. Every time I found one of those little gouges I was talking about with that file, I'd have to grab the 600 and take that roughness out of it and then go back and repolish it with the 1500. Since I don't have the pickups in here, I'm just going to go ahead and use steel wool for the final polish. You can see how it just puts a really nice shine on them. Well, these look really good. They should just be smooth as glass to play. Well, here's hoping this neck really plays well now. Whoa! Whoa! Look at that. The tape pulled the inlay, which there's almost nothing left of. Oh my gosh. It is paper thin. Did not expect that. It's absolutely paper thin. There's a little super glue in there. Clean that out. Wow. That fingerboard must have been really machined at some point. That must have happened when the neck was repaired. Wow. I don't think I can get any of that off the back of that. I probably shouldn't even try. So I won't. Alrighty then. Let's see if we can get this thing don't want too much in there. Don't move. Okay then. Wow. Need a rag here. Alrighty, we will not be pulling this tape straight up like that anymore when there's an inlay underneath. Alrighty. As soon as I'm confident how dry that is, I will clean up more of that glue. One of the things I was doing was seeing about getting some of this shellac off of the finish. I can kind of scrape it like this, and the shellac just peels right off like that, see? And leaves the original finish underneath. A lot of work to do that, but I would kind of like to restore this finish back to its original. Maybe I can just do some polishing after I take all the shellac off it like that. But the whole thing is coated with it. So, yeah, that's finish work when I get around to doing that. Another thing I'm doing with the new bridge is I have to file these little notches so it fits the string better and holds it. Doesn't take much, just a little bit of a... So I'm using this StewMac 42 thousandths file. It's rounded and it's made for cutting saddles and nuts. That's all I want to do. A couple of drags like that at an angle. And another problem I'm having is that the hole for these screws is too high. So these saddles are
pivoting. Let me see if I can show you that. See how that pivots? I'm pushing down, but it's actually pivoting on the screw. So what I'm doing to cure that is I've got, this is a little 6/1000 piece of brass. And what I'm going to do is just, see, I don't know if you guys can, it's just hard to do this with you guys in my way. Let's see if I can get it in there. There we go. So I'm sliding this little 6/1000 piece of brass under there, like so. So now when I push down and try to wiggle, it doesn't. So what that does is it causes just a slight weird harmonic vibration at the bridge. So you have the note that the string is tuned to, but then you have this other note, which is the bridge buzzing back and forth. And it just doesn't, it just gets in the way. It doesn't sound good. So you get a more pure note. Well, now I'm buzzing frets here because I'm plucking it too hard, but hear that rattle? That's because even at tension, see, I can wiggle this. Some of these, see, like that one there is really bad. This one's not too bad. That one's pretty bad. That one's tight. See, and you can tell I already did this one over here. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing, is tightening up some of these saddles and then dressing the little notch that the string sets in.
Yeah, okay. I know some of you have been giving me grief about using a badass bridge. Frankly, I like the badasses. I think they sound really good. And I like the accuracy of the intonation. However, this little task I'm having to perform here is a pain in the butt. And so it just shows that the precision of the Leo Kwan badass is not being maintained on these reproductions. They're allowing too much clearance for the plating, and so the little saddles are standing on the threaded part on the screw instead of having its shoulders firmly down into the body of the bridge. So then all of this, making these little spacers and everything, is necessary to stabilize the bridges. I still like the sound of it. I mean, yes, I find this part annoying, but it just seems to be the way of parts these days. They just don't make them like they used to. I've already thought of ways that I would modify the manufacture of these things so that they don't have this problem. But hey, maybe they're listening.
There we go. I'm usually bending up on these strings, so I want the saddle already pushed into the position of the way the bends go. Now on the lower strings, I'm pulling down, and that's why I have the little shim piece here on the upside, on the high side. Anyway, that's just the way it goes.
Don't know if you guys can hear the difference, but I sure can. Just listening to the video here and plunking along, I can hear the difference in the note and the sound of the string.
Okay, here I'm just using a 5/16 fine thread bolt, a couple of spacers from automotive, whatever, to yank these here ferrules out of the body. So see, it just fits right through the center of that. And now I've got 2 holes to plug. I guess what I need is a flashlight here. See, the body is mahogany with a maple cap, so I need to know how much mahogany to put in there. At this point right here, the maple cap is a 1/2 inch, a little over 1/2 inch. So the rest of it from there down to there is going to be mahogany. So 600 thousandths of mahogany and a 1/2 inch of maple. I have to line the grain up, huh? Just like that. Glued in. And then I've got maple to go into the upper part of the hole. I got the plug cutter made them just slightly larger than this hole here, so I have to trim it down just a bit. First thing I want to do is I'll just put a taper on this, taper it up to the 380 mark, and then the rest of it can just stick down into the point of where the drill goes, the tip of the drill was. There we go. That looks pretty good. Now I just got to get the it needs to be under 1/2 inch. Get the excess out of the bottom here so it doesn't hydraulic. And a little bit of glue here around the perimeter. Line up the grain. Might as well, huh? And okay, next up, gotta get the maple ones in. They can be square bottom, and I'll leave them full length because it won't matter. Make them a little easier to get a hold of here. And now I have to size these. So once again, I'll get to that and get back to you. I ended up just turning it down on the lathe. It made for a pretty nice pin. And let's line up the grain lines as much as possible, just like that. And that's it. Now I just have to cut those off, pare them off, trim the holes out, and stick the tape down. Yeah, the heater's running in the background because, you know what? It was 30 degrees out this morning. Now this is going to be kind of weird because my little hobby saw here I've been using without the handle. No, it doesn't leave any, it doesn't have any set to it. So let me just change the angle here a little bit, like so. I'm going to leave it proud of the surface because after my experience over here, I don't want to take it too down flush and then have it shrink on me. Yeah, it's not going to be much of a video angle. Sorry about that, but you know. Okay, I think that's about as far as I'm going to go with that one. It's still sticking up like it should. Just a little bit more. Let's just stop there. Okay, just like that. Getting there. What I end up having to do, as soon as I get this down all the way, so I will have to get some super glue and go around the edge. And fill in the crack and then scrape it. Well, it's feeling really good. Brush. Wow. It's perfectly level with the finish, but it's got to get sanded down to the bare wood. Wow, oh man, that feels good. Just a little bit of a hole on the side there. Definitely have to get out some super glue.
that feels really good. Just trying to make it as invisible as possible, but it's not going to matter when it's under the gold paint. So here I'm using super glue around those seams, and the idea is that the super glue will not shrink. So once it's smoothed out, it'll be good. What I'm attempting to do here is to get the shellac off the guitar and leave the nitro under it. So this shellac is just really brittle, so it just comes zinging right off. And the nitro is a soft finish. It's way softer. So I can tell when I get through it. But anyway, that's what I'm attempting to do, is to get all this brushed shellac off of the guitar. The back of the neck still looks like nitro. So I'm going to try to drop fill these dings on the neck and the joint here to get rid of that roughness under my hands. We'll see. We'll see if it works out. Here you can see I get the shellac off, and look at all the checking that was in the lacquer that they had hidden by brushing all that shellac on there. That's all the checking from the original lacquer. So I'm working at it. I just don't know if I can save this finish or not. I want to get it down to looking like just the lacquer paint or the lacquer finish, but this shellac, it comes off, and I just don't know if I'm going to be able to save the look of the lacquer underneath. Wanted to show you how it's coming out. All this checking that's in the lacquer. See, it was under the shellac. Look at that. See all that checking? I guess they just really didn't like the look of the guitar. If I can't save it, then of course I got to sand all this off and shoot it with nitro. But I just don't want to have to do that. Anyway, continuing on. What I've done now is I went over it with some polishing compound. It's just a real fine cut buffing compound. Where the buckle rash is, that there's no finish left there. But you can still see, I don't know if you guys can see that. I'll try to catch the light just right here, but you can still see the brush marks. See, look at these up here. Where it was just, the finish was just brushed on. I don't know. You can see a lot of button and, well, there's buckle rash here, but this looks like some sort of button, weird sort of scraggly scrapes. I'm not sure what that is. And all the check marks, of course, are still there, which there's a lot of on this guitar. Anyway, that's the patina that's left on it. And I have to decide whether I want to leave that. Maybe I could sand it with some 400 or something. I just went over it with 1000 grit and then polished it after scraping. But really, it's almost like I'm going to have to just sand it down and refinish it. And it was so poorly done last time. You can see that it was sanded by hand. And I don't know, can you guys catch the light on that? You can see how uneven the surface is, because it was, you know, they took sandpaper like this and sanded it. And, you know, that doesn't make the wood flat. That just sands the soft parts of the wood out and leaves the hard part of the grain standing. So the wood gets all this hoop-de-doos in it. Oh, man. Well, I'll keep going here and see where I end up after I get the whole thing cleaned up and polished. Okay, I've sanded it again with 400. Finish is getting really thin, but you know, you can see it's starting to lighten up. So I'll try this one more time here. Put a little polishing compound on here, and let's just see how she turns out. Yeah, you can see it's starting to get, finishes starting to get thin up there. All the places where the buckle rash took it off and everything, it's just, I don't know. Well, I don't see as much of the brush marks. Those are gone. Well, now it's just the 400 sanding, which is a little coarse for polishing and whatnot. I'd have to go over it real nice with 1000 or something. Okay, now, what do you think? Starting to look like the finish was before it got shellac plastered all over it. You can see why they wanted to refinish the thing. It's pretty rough. This was all pretty rough looking. I'll bet you the gold top was just really ugly. Well, it's better than it was. Still all those sanding divots there are still there. Actually, some of this has removed some of the sanding divots. Yeah, it's not perfect by any means, but you know, the idea is to restore it back to where it was. Yeah, I have to figure out a way to secure this thing so I can polish these edges. But I need to go over it with 1000 grit. I'm going to see what happens if I do that. Just another real light sanding 1000 grit, and then we'll polish it again. The back really is starting to look really cool. I just really figured that it would be cool to have all of the patina maintained on the guitar so that it looks the part of a 70-year-old guitar. Here's where we've ended up. Yeah, see, that looks pretty good. Not great, but not bad considering that I'm trying to restore the patina and not make it perfect. All of these edges are just hammered. Look at that. The wood's turned black from the moisture intrusion. Well, anyway, you can see what I'm up to. Just trying to restore the guitar to what it looked like before that last person that worked on it got to it. There's this thing inside of me that just says strip it and do a brand new finish on the guitar. Make it look brand new. Because, you know, frankly, I never let my guitars get this beat up. Yeah, I didn't get any of that polished good enough around here. Like up here on the horn, I didn't get that. It's not even shiny. I didn't even hit it. I kind of like keeping all the old check marks and buckle rash and everything. Drop filling the dings in the neck. It's actually starting to feel pretty good. These here are still pretty deep, so I gotta put some more fill in there. But all of these up here are looking really good. Still working on the headstock break. Oh yeah, I also drilled and plugged where the strap button goes, and I got a little color on it, and I got to put a little finish over the top of this. I'm gonna have to fog in a little brown and amber color there to kind of darken that up, but it looks pretty good. I can't tell what this is. This almost looks like some kind of wood filler, you know, that plastic wood stuff or something that's in this hole. That's all I've been doing today is drop filling and then leveling with the razor blade and sanding with the 1000 grit and trying to get this neck to feel really good. Trying to make some of the dings disappear that happened when like when the fretboard was pulled up and it kind of chipped away some of the finish next to the fretboard, next to the binding, and getting this seam from neck to body to look good. So I'm doing some drop fill with a little of the lacquer. I've got 5 drops of amber and 3 of brown, just to get the color back on some of the lighter spots. And it's actually a pretty good match. See, like, that was bare wood right there that was pretty light, and now that I've put that on there, it looks like it matches the rest of the guitar. So from here on out, I'll just use clear on it. In fact, all of these are dark enough, I can just use clear. Paint isn't here yet. Alrighty, that's all I've got done so far today. So the hole isn't perfect, but then it's covered by the nut and the poker chip. Had to repair the wires here. This pickup here, which is the bridge, no, it's the neck pickup. Only one strand of the wire was left connected, so I fixed that. So this whole thing is ready for installation. Now all I need is paint.